What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor. Thank you for tuning in for another live stream here on your Sunday evening. We're going to be going into quite a few stocks here. We're going to be discussing Tesla, of course. We saw a Tesla breakout. We also have the Fed news coming this week as well on Wednesday. And then alongside of just all that, we'll run through some my main list here within the market that I'm looking at and kind of doing research and looking at some potential moves, some things that I've seen on X, some other traders that I know are talking about certain stocks. And we'll just kind of go through that and discuss some of those stocks, look at some of the more higher flyers. Definitely the one we want to talk about the most is the Tesla. As you can see here on the chart right now, we talked about it last Sunday, discussing it of like, hey, it was in this little box, this Darvis box. It really wasn't going anywhere. It's kind of not performing well compared to other of its peers in the market. But it is definitely has broken out with style here. This is on the weekly side. Let's switch to a daily. Can kind of tell a little bit of a better picture here. Again, that box of purgatory, we're seeing it kind of bounce around, not really doing much of anything, but then having huge volume Thursday and then into the close on Friday, popping out of this box and reaching some levels that we haven't seen in quite some time. So this is the daily side. We haven't seen this level since it really broke down, and that's like that is what is this, May, like Mayish? No, this is this is February. Sorry, yeah, this is back in February. So we're literally talking. What is that? Eight, 7.5 months ago. That's quite some time, right? What's the reason behind it? God only knows, right? I think it's probably somewhat related to Optimus AI. Because if you don't know, like Tesla's credits are ending at the end of the month. So if you can search up the Tesla credits, you're going to see that it's going to be going away. The Tesla credit, that is, meaning the federal credit that you can get towards the car. The $7,500, basically, you have to take delivery by the car by the 30th. So a lot of people are potentially trying to get in here, get it at that time. Um, I'm not sure on how that potentially is going to work out. It's definitely going to hurt Tesla in the short term, especially here in the United States. We'll see how they navigate that. I hope that they have some fantastic news regarding about Optimus, and really talking more about the AI stuff, and automation of how Optimus will not just serve popcorn, but do a lot of other things, because Optimus can do that. And there, he was just on the All In podcast, and they talked about the overall hand movement of Optimus and how difficult it is to get all those actuators moving. But yeah, looking strictly at the chart here, like we said, that volume's coming out here looks beautiful. You can't really complain about that. We're really not. We're quite still far from all-time highs of basically $100 away from that all-time high as well. So that's quite a bit to go there. So you kind of see I have this golden line here, basically around like 440. We'll see if that one kind of completed. But that's definitely Tesla in a nutshell there. Some other news, we had Hood, the old Robin Hood, have a really strong week as well, because it was trading around that golden line of opportunity that we always talk about. It was kind of bouncing around here a little bit. It held the line, beautiful volume and upward movement in the stock coming in and coming through here, which is something that we like to see, especially this thing has been kind of trading sideways for a little bit too. And that's kind of what I'm potentially. I never want to tell a stock what to do because I don't have a crystal ball as well. But if it can trade sideways here, that potentially is what something that we could like to see kind of consolidate here. But it's good to have a plan, but your plan could be definitely changed, because again, we have the Fed stuff coming on Wednesday. I think a lot of people's eyes are going to be on that. I'm definitely going to try to to live stream that evening to kind of give a better perspective on that. But hood still looks really good. PLTR as well. Like sometimes it probably doesn't do a great service, but look at this very tight action here within PLTR over the last. This is on the daily side, so this is basically within the last like week and a half. Really tight action. Not a crazy amount of volume. We had a little like volume basically. I think this was due to the short report that I thought the guy was gonna retire. I think it was Andrew. Is it Andrew Left or something like that? The Citron people put out a short report. Again, they put out a short report on PLTR like 4 years ago. It took it from 40, I believe. It was this right here. They this is where the last time they put out a short report here. It crashed it. It did nothing. But I don't think it had its real mojo at that point in time for PLTR. I think PLTR is in a different place and a different animal. It's definitely has a lot larger institutional buying now. Back then, it was considered more like a retail name, but I think PLTR is going to be a fantastic, continuously moving here, consolidating here. It's kind of breaking out here a little bit. Not too much volume is what we would like to see to kind of push this guy a little bit higher. And again, it's near all-time highs, which we would like to see. We can switch into the king of the jungle, NVIDIA. So you're going to see a lot of these stocks right now. We're kind of in consolidation or base building mode or in the purple boxes, I call them. And that's basically where a lot of these high growth names are sitting at. NVIDIA, same picture, kind of been beating around, had a beautiful run up. Like this is an amazing run from like this April low with talking about tariffs and the whole world's gonna burn and no one's gonna make any money and the AI is a bubble, blah 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 blah. This has been a pretty beautiful turnaround story here. Not a turnaround story, but just a correction, like a V-shaped recovery. And we're seeing this really kind of kick through here, holding these aggressive moving averages, basically the 21 and then the 50-day. It did trade a little bit past the 50-day, but there wasn't an uptick of volume as much as you would think. By uptick, you would need like 50, 60% more beating the average of like the last like 20 trading days in volume. That's usually something that we could see as a red flag and that we could see some selling getting to. But as we know, Nvidia is the king of the jungle. It's totally in decent order right now. It is just kind of just trading sideways. This could last for some time, right? We're doing a big asterisk on a lot of things. A lot of things require, a lot of the things are tied to interest rates, right? If interest rates, people are expecting a cut, some people are pushing for literally 100 basis points, which is probably no, it's not likely. That 25 is the most likely, I believe, and then 50 is the second. But 25 is, I think, is like 80 or 90% people are projecting it. But again, it's all projecting in the different models they want to run. We did talk about BE as well. So the BE is that electric company, not electric company, the basically helping data centers and people get reliable, great energy, especially for data centers, and it's very modular. This thing has definitely, from what I've heard and seen people talk about, is it's definitely in a short squeeze. The days to cover is pretty substantial here, but look at these days of just blue meaning bulbs of buying here, just continuously buying here. On the daily side, it's not even touching the 21 EMA. Some could say that this is definitely extended, and you have a position in it, maybe to sell some covered calls or put credit spreads. This thing is definitely, I think it could go higher, but it is hitting territory for me personally of something to be maybe let's take a little bit of risk off here and we'll see how it plays out. This is quite extended here, and while the whole other market is kind of just consolidating as well, But I could be completely wrong here, and this thing can go straight even past the moon, and go right to Pluto here. Again, we'll just have to wait and see here. This is definitely an interesting chart to look at. Let's just look at the normal QQQ, which is this NASDAQ, the overall market here. And like we're talking about, like again, consolidating. Again, Friday closing at all-time highs. Again, this is people are crying and calling for a recession and different things. I think just we're in a different point in time here. This could be, I wouldn't want to say lagging, but this could be something where we could maybe see uh, a steep reversal due to what's happening on Wednesday. That's basically going to be the name of this stream, of just a huge asterisk after everything, because every plan that we can have here, yeah, everything's consolidating. This shows support, but if Fed comes out and like, oh, actually, we're not going to cut rates, and we see some more trouble and how it's going with the tariffs and how people are dealing with the circumstances, how we see the job market going, all these other various things could be an indicator of like of throwing the whole game plan out the window here. So I want to be very, very careful here, and emphasizing the stuff that I'm talking about. Back to China. China is breaking out all-time high. Not all-time current, all-time high, but like this year high, like this year to date is coming out very strong here. You can see here on FXI. Spot is one that we talked about here a little bit, especially on the daily side here. Oh, why do these tags? Yeah, this I see. This is basically volume. Oh, it's not lining up here. Volume is basically drying up here, which is a good sign. But it's because it's not going lower. It's just kind of beautiful, just trading sideways. Like we just mentioned, a handful of the other stocks that we just talked about, it's just trading sideways. It's consolidating. It's potentially building its next base for the next kick higher, or we could see it go at lower, right? So just be mindful about this. And again, this is on the weekly side. And if you watch the channel for more than an hour, maybe 10 minutes, I bring it up quite a bit, is the 10-week line, which is the golden line of opportunity. This is definitely a great sign of it continuously holding it. It hasn't been perfect. Nothing is perfect in life, but this has just kind of been bouncing around this line here, showing, hey, we're just going to consolidate here. We're going to take a break, take a breather, take some electrolytes, and we're going to continue to climb up the mountain here, on the road of capitalism and making everyone money. On that, I do like Spot. Um, it's not the craziest stock. I track Yeti just because of some people were really pushing it on X and YouTube, and it hasn't really done anything. I just kind of do that for giggles. Keep a track on that. Reddit. Reddit is another great stock that was basically out of its luck for this year. It wasn't performing, coming into like whenever we had the overall like DeepSeek tariff stuff, or really DeepSeek stuff, it just kind of tanked and it went down hard. Like this is what we're talking about, a very aggressive line down, and it just really didn't recover from that movement, because that is a pretty nasty way down. Volume was fairly strong compared to the other previous days, so this is weeks, but it built its box, right? We always talk about those boxes of consolidation here, and that's basically here. It's not the perfect box of consolidation because it wasn't really around a key level, because even if you go to the daily side here, it really just kind of built around the 200-day moving average on the daily side. On the weekly side, it just looked pretty nasty, and it was a fairly like newer stock, just coming on the market, so people just had to kind of get used to it and kind of figure it out. But this thing is just ramping again with this year's earnings and sales. We're talking about sales of 60%, earnings going about 150% substantially. For 2026, we're talking another 30, 33, 34% in sales growth and basically another 62% in earnings. Um, I'm going to call that there may be sandbagging that and being a little light on those numbers. I think those definitely could come up substantially. The stock's kind of saying that those are potentially sandbagging of numbers and that we could go substantially higher here. Because again, look at this action here. Once we had the 10-week cross past here, the teal line, it just went gangbusters. I think that was earnings, though. Yeah, it was earnings gap up, and it just continued to ride. Came back to the 21-day here on the daily side, and kind of been riding that up and forth. So I definitely could see this come back down to like the 230 level on the daily side if the momentum wants to keep. But I can easily see it coming back down to like 200, maybe touch it, or this golden line of opportunity will come up and kind of parallel speed to the next level up above. Tesla, we kind of already talked about and discussed that one a little bit in great detail of what we potentially could see there. Huge move coming to the end of the week with popping it there. Google, love me some Google, use it every day, love Gemini. And they have some really cool stuff coming out with like their deep mind stuff. They have some really interesting stuff. I think this is just like literally a hidden gem that no one knows about and more people should know about. Um, this has been performing very well here again, especially with this beautiful volume of blue coming in here. It is, I think it's definitely extended here. Again, this is a huge. This is one of the Mag 7, right? So this is definitely way above the 10-week line. This is definitely where we can maybe see a flag build. And what do I mean by a flag? It's basically like a little pennant looking thing, like you see like on a sailboat. Whoops, I did this one. Kind of like this kind of pattern here, kind of building sideways here, and maybe see a breakout higher or lower. So this is what we're projecting to see how it plays out, and we'll just have to go from there. Again, not financial advice. This is just my opinion. We talked about Take-Two Interactive. This is my complete play on just GTA being announced hopefully in May of next year. And then they're not going to kick that down the road here and really just not send it my way and maybe really mess up my options play. But Take-Two has been performing well-ish. It's kind of consolidating here a little bit, trying to break out this week as well, hitting another all-time high. Is this maybe another video coming out? Is there more rumors of how it's going to come out, what's going to cost, and all these kind of things? There's still so many things like implied in this of like how much the game's going to cost, what's it going to be like, what could give us more of the information. They dropped like the trailers and things like that and kind of like highlighting it. And GTA does a fantastic, Rockstar does a fantastic job on like hyping the hell out of their games. MSTR not performing very well at all. This is the Sailor and Co. company of leveraged, basically a leveraged Bitcoin ETF. Um, it is a very, some people say it's complex, and I don't quite understand it, of how they're able to lever up on Bitcoin by buying 2,000 Bitcoin. Yeah, there's only 21 million of them, and then they do some financial wizardry in the back end, and they offer these different various products for traders, hedge funds, or independent investors to have like a very levered exposure into Bitcoin. Sorry, I always call them MicroStrategies. I forgot they just changed their name to Strategy. So, Strategy here, basically not performing to its standard or where it has been, but it's trying to stop the bleeding here. The pilot has woken up and he's trying to pull back on the yoke to stabilize the plane here. Maybe trade, kind of skim the ocean or the tree lines here, and maybe hopefully get it up over the mountain back up to 460, 450, and seeing it continuously going from there. Credo, another, look at this, my gosh, this is a beautiful AI name. Look at that golden line opportunity. That is just a beautiful pattern, just trading up, continuously trading up, just rocketing up, beating on earnings, getting growth. We're talking huge numbers for 2025. They're 258% increase in earnings, 126% increase on sales. Going to 2026, 356% increase in earnings, 120% in sales. That's a substantial. This is a uh, once in every couple years kind of scenario stock here. So we're going to basically talk about Credo, and then the one that I'm currently in is the A Lab. I like A Lab a little bit better just because it was more compelling to the way I trade, because it was in this little box of purgatory. It broke out huge blue volume coming in here, and it just continued to rocket and ratchet higher. Um, Credo, there are some negative tailwinds to it because it only has. I want to confirm this that it has, I believe, two or three of its customers make up like 80% of their revenue. A Lab is a little bit more spread across nicely. Like, if you look at it as like a piece of toast, Credo has a little bump here of butter, and then it's just kind of nothing on the rest of the toast. A Lab's a little bit more smoother with butter spread across that beautiful baguette, nice and smoothly. Um, and at the same time, giving you that AI data center, the whole ramp up from NVIDIA, like going from going into Blackwell and even going from there as well, updating their systems. A lot of the cabling and the networking stuff is what they do. Cloudflare is one just I've been watching. Um, really haven't get involved in it because it wasn't something that I was too engaged with because I was pretty much long a lot of other stocks. This is definitely something that has just kind of been trading sideways and just I don't hear a lot of people talk about it, but it's been performing very well. The numbers are not as crazy as like we just talked about with Credo and Alab, but it's a steady eddy for sure. Rocket is I hope it's going to be a rocket ship. This is basically rocket companies. This is like the mortgage refinancing banking company that provides um, users and anyone who's looking to refi, uh, purchase a home, mortgages, all this kind of stuff. This definitely has been beaten down. Why? Because interest rates have been so high. Most people haven't refinanced. Most people haven't bought a home because of the rates being so high. And now we're seeing this really kind of come alive here and break out here due to, hey, guess what? People are more interested on what's this little yellow dot here? Coming into just buying more. So this is definitely a play that I have longer dated leaps in, um, like 50, 80 delta ones in between there, and seeing how this one plays out. This is definitely a more longer term play because, again, it's got to come down to what happens on Wednesday, right? Like, that's that asterisk again of what we're going to see come into play at that point in time. Another AI play, VRT, which is basically the cooling of a lot of the servers and so forth, infrastructure, the infra. Um, this is a very steady Eddie, like we just talked about. A little bit more person with more reserved mindset. Instead of using an A Lab or a Credo, VRT is something that um, can really play to that level here. Because again, really looking at to kind of break above that 245 level. It has been kind of consolidating here. This is the weekly side. Not a crazy amount of volume bring to the downside, but we could see this one potentially perform better in the coming weeks. I think it has, oh, it just had earnings. It popped and kind of going lower. I thought it had earnings sooner, but I guess not. My apologies on that. But this is definitely something that is more for a little more conservative than if you want to go for pure rocket fuel. That's the Credo and the A Lab, especially within the AI space. VST, this is basically electric power generating company. Definitely with the AI play that we just talked about, like BE. Now we're talking about the nuclear stuff. This is stuff that we want to we're seeing it grow. Like it's funny talking about how energy, look like if you just look at this hasn't done anything for like 5 years, and then once we start talking about data centers and how much power we need, it literally goes from 30 to $215 in a very short period of time because of guess what? Earnings growth. It was in 2019 it was making a buck 68. This year it's looking for 510. And it's taking a little bit of loss probably due to investments, but it's growing. And then the following year of 2026, they're gonna go up another $3 to $8.51 in earnings, um, for an energy company. Okay, like these guys grow at like maybe 2 or 3%, and we're talking about 16, 7, or sorry, 16 and like 13%. That's insane. Um, Same with the GEV energy company as well. Kind of literally kind of the same pattern here. If we just do like the eye doctor test, is it one or two? Is one better than two? I think GEV is just slightly better because it is earning a little bit more. The sales is slower, but the earnings is a little bit better here, and I like the pattern just ever so slightly, by holding the golden line of opportunity here, on the weekly side, which is that beautiful yellow line. I'm gonna go crack open my bubbly here real fast. Sorry for the noise. Thank you. Grapefruit. And then Core Weave. This was one I was definitely watching as well. Crazy out of the gate IPO strength, topped off, coming down hard. It's trying to break back out. I have the orange line of suppression here. Um, Basically, maybe seeing if it continues to go downward trending, but that huge gap up, or sorry, a volume coming in on Friday. Was it Friday? No, it was Thursday, Wednesday, kind of is filling that gap just ever so slightly. We'll see if this one can continue to push higher here. Just kind of one that I'm watching, kind of see how it overall plays. The Ethereum ETF, this has been big money, big news on a lot of people talking about this guy, really highlighting the very tight pattern here. Again, maybe we can see a little bit more on the daily side here of just the tightness action going on here. Excuse me. And seeing this potentially, let me see if this pulls up on the, yeah, basically here. Seeing it kind of potentially, I don't have an alert up here. That's weird. Do I have an alert? There we go. What is this guy right here? No, it's not an alert. So yeah, looking for it to maybe break above 36, 35, oh, sorry, 36, 36 to 36.50, with volume kind of coming in. Volume is slowing down just a little bit, but the stock is not showing turning over or potentially trading lower, breaking through that lower level here, which I should kind of move up just a little bit like that. There we go. Perfect. And see how that one overall plays out on Ethereum. MP, yes, if you're a U.S. citizen, we own this company, if you like it or not. This one, I'm really just looking at it because it's coming into the golden line of opportunity, the 21, or sorry, the 10-week line here on the weekly side. This one, we can maybe see this potentially hold here. I want to see if it can do that. Let me just draw. Wrong button. I want to draw an arrow. Mark that guy. Mark arrow. Can I draw? There we go. I want to mark right here. All right. Oops. Nope. And then it went away. All right. Boop. All right. There we go. It's holding the 10-week line, for my notes and so forth. We'll see if this one can continue to hold here. I think it has a lot of momentum. I don't. It was profitable, but it's getting a lot of investment. It's reinventing itself in earnings, but the growth in sales is pretty substantial here. Again, this is all about getting stuff back into the United States, doing kind of stuff here stateside, getting those materials for things and so forth, um, in that kind of play. GLD, gold, right? Yeah, gold's kind of boring. Hiss, kind of boring. This thing has definitely huge trading base here, popping off here, popping past 320. Now we're looking at nearly 338 now on gold. Again, we're talking about gold here. Like this is not. Look at this move here. That's substantial here in gold. Like, um, this is something where the bears are looking at. They're like, hey, look, guys, look over here. The the gold spiking. That means there's a recession coming. I need to do my data and do research on that. I don't think that is always correlated. I think it's more like a. I don't think gold is as of a risk off kind of scenario like it has been, for the past like 100 years. It is definitely a staple in a lot of people's portfolios still. I think Bitcoin is starting to kind of wiggle its way in there, and seeing how that overall performs. But, yeah, gold, fantastic move there. SoFi, one of the folks on the live stream last week talked about brought this one up to my attention. I didn't know that it was hitting. Basically, it's like all time high. Basically, it's IPO breakout. This is, excuse me, a pattern I adore. I forget who it was. I want to thank you. If you're watching, let me know who you are. But this is definitely something I can see trading sideways, and we'll see on how this one works. But this can continue to run. But for this to get me super excited about it, is going to be trading sideways, building a beautiful base here. Like what I mean by that is maybe it not going completely like a little sideways action right here. But if it starts getting like lower, like this area down here, and start heading down this direction, that's kind of like all. It's kind of like it breaks what I'm looking for, and it doesn't perform to the base building that I'm looking for. Doing air quotes there, by building this really true like cup and handle pattern that I truly love here. So that beautiful understanding of just kind of building here sideways, it can go slightly lower, but we do not want to see like a spike up in volume here, because that's going to scare away the bears, and that's going to make a little bit more difficult for the stock to try to move out from there. But again, looking at the fundamental side here, again, it is going to be it's making money here basically since 2024. Again, we have what things do we have happening? I think it's a huge component of student loan debt. We have mortgages, rates coming down, interest rates coming down. They're like a full service bank, so they're going to be very happy with, people borrowing and being able to lend more money for their business. Again, they're looking for 2026 is 72% increase in earnings. Okay, that's substantial. We're talking about a bank here. So looking at speaking of banks, we can talk about, um, do, 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 X. Oops, not typing. We're gonna look at XF. Oh no, XLF. This is the financials ETF, right? What do you see here? What do you see here? What do you see? It's at all time high. It's near all time. It's near all time high, right? The last time we've seen this level was basically 0809, that double top that people talked about. This thing is performing very well here, XLF. Can we go higher? Sure, it's a banking stock, but you have to be very careful, with banking. It's very complex, right? And it's not like considered a crazy growth thing as well, but we'll see how that one continues to play out. I just wanted to kind of highlight there for the investing side. Um, while is anyone out there have any questions, any comments, questions, concerns, or anything of that matter here? Let's see here. 30-day RV. What changed here? Oh, they changed the system. I see. FUTU, this is a stock that I've seen people talk about a lot on the Chinese side. It's performing well, kind of just hanging there. Halo. Healthcare is a sector that a lot of people are saying could benefit substantially within the AI realm of just like uh, with like understanding information, do new compounds, new mixtures, new potential ideas. Most people that I've seen and read about is that we're just not quite there yet. We talked about Credo, APP, McLovin. This thing was talked about being dead. It has came back in full strength, making all-time high, added the SP 500. Kudos to them. That is fantastic. ANET is 1-2. I didn't see this action this week in great detail. Was that on the close on Friday? I wonder what happened here on Friday that made it go down that substantial. Let me see. Let's do a quick Google here. ANET. They didn't have earnings. Reverses down amid analyst day touring AI outlook. Receives a buy from what sending? Why fell today? I don't like when I read these like dumb headlines. I think it doesn't matter why it fell, but it's the story behind it, right? Like I didn't know if they were like getting sued or something like that, or something happened. That's gonna be more concerning. Or there's like the biggest concerning is when you start hearing murmurs of uh, moving the books around or taking from one account to another, and they have to hire another audit company, and that's the only red flag that is very substantial in my book, on why it should drop for a lot of reasons. Of course, if they have to guide down on earnings or something like that, but these are the people who are they're really talented people. I remember reading something about these. They're like ex Cisco people. I remember I thought I was told, and I think they're going to be doing great stuff. For I think this is just underperforming here, and people are not really giving it the light of day here. Ba, 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 ba. Whoa, Ubiquity. Oh my gosh, I didn't know Ubiquity was performing so well. Hi caramba, I own this sucker around like 400. Wow, wow. Wow. Good for them. Good for them. Yikes. Let's go to deep view leaders. I want to see what they have here. Let's go. Nope. Let's go to RSI. What do I have here? What is highlighting here? There we go. Exit this out. Is there any comments or questions down below? Anyone have anything want to look at, discuss? I want a group rating, and then I want RSI to be high. Great. So let's actually, no, I don't want that. I don't want that. Okay, just give me the high RS, please. Thank you. Okay. Let's just go through some of these lists here. That is, no idea what this is. That looks crazy. Zip Health. Wow. That looks like something happened here from $3 to $50. Wow. What happened here? Never. Newegg. Newegg is, I haven't heard Newegg forever. Wow. This is kind of disappointing here. Are they making money? No, they're not, sadly. They're losing money 27%, 16%, or 12%, and then 17%. Yikes. Power Group, that's a beautiful looking thing chart there. But they are barely making money. $17. What does this company do? It operates a vertical software and insurance platform in the United States. The company operates a home related product and service industry, including insurance, mortgage. What? Home related product, home insurance software, warranties, blah, 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 blah. Huh. Interesting. Came out in 2021. Was it a SPAC or something? I need to do a little bit more information on that one. So I need to, what do I have my list on? Oh, shoot. I need to add it to, how do I, there we go. Add to looking. Thank you. I was going to add that to the looking list. Looking list is always good to have, you know, to get a little looksies. Power solutions. Wow, that looks really good as well. 50%. Wow. BE is one we have just talked about. That was a beautiful move there as well. CLS, again, that is, a lot of these are just so extended in my point of view. Credo, talk about extension. Hood. Hood is the only one that we just looked at is not too extended here, but I think that we could, it's not, it was announced that it's going to the S&P 500, but it's not in the S&P 500 yet. There's a certain time where there's like a transitioning period. Um, and I think on a lot of data I've seen is like that could potentially create some volatility in the stock, meaning it could wash some people out and going from there. I hope everyone's enjoying it. Let's see here. Beautiful looking stock here as well. It's a very low price. What is IRNE? Operates vertical integrated data center business and owns and operates data centers powered by renewable energies in Australia, United States, and Canada. Canada facilities built. Okay. All right. They're just like an eco-friendly kind of another energy company. I remember seeing that. MP we talked about. I don't know. This one. A Lab we talked about. Rocket Lab. A lot of people love the Rocket Lab here. Again, this is a company that I sadly probably should have bought some stuff in, but I didn't. I was kind of being too stringent on it because it really wasn't performing and making money. But just the overall momentum and continuous upside potential here is just kind of building here. It's kind of just throwing me down. Eco Star. Whoa. These are some crazy high flyers they're sorting here on Deep View here. Applava and Dave. I don't understand this company fully. I've just seen it just kind of just go up here without me. A lot of these stocks I've seen just kind of go up without me. Reddit, definitely not. I've gotten into that one. A mining company, VSAT, not sure what that is. American Semiconductor. Ah, yes. We talked about this one like months ago. I looked at it months ago. Basically around this like 30, you can kind of see my previous levels here. I should have bought some here basically at 33. This thing has just been ratcheting higher, but now we're kind of potentially kind of building a level here of trading sideways, maybe getting a little bit of action going on here, but there's nothing really to write home about. I don't think there's any, it has some great fundamental stuff. Its earnings potential is really good again, of earnings of nearly 100%, and basically sales going up 23%. Compared to the high flying Credos and A Labs and things like that, that's okay. But this is something that potentially could go substantially higher. Because again, this is, yeah, look at this thing used to be 309 back in the day, and 08, 09 again. A lot of these stocks you can't go back too far because they were doing completely different things. They may be vertical and integrated into something else. So definitely need to add that back to the looky list. Add to the looking. Okay, thank you very much. KOTOSS. Yeah, that's one's beautiful trading there. If you guys hit the like, let me know if there's anything else you want me to look out there. And light. A lot of these are just like some of the best because we're sorting by RS rating, which is basically looking for the relative strength, using that information. Neighbors, Li-Fi, Berkeley. Oh, I haven't heard of this one forever, Mr. Wow. Oh my gosh. I remember looking at this stock down here. Wow. That is phenomenal. Isn't it beautiful, some of these stocks and how much they can ride? Look at Roblox. Like, who would have thunk Roblox could have gone flying like this? This is one that just clearly got away. You can see the line I put in the sand here of like, if it crosses here, Ken, you should buy it. But me being a stubborn uh, person and maybe not fully understanding the story that I was understanding and maybe not doing my research that well. And I think what really threw me off too is that wasn't really making money. It was still losing earnings, but the sales growth was growing, which is sales can usually fix a lot of things. Um, but I just didn't understand it, and it wasn't the best understanding of it. But that is a fantastic move, basically from $70 all the way up to the all-time high of 150. Okay, in a very short period of time. We're talking like a month and a half, 2 months. That is beautiful, beautiful action going on there within Roblox, and that's kind of consolidating. Is this one of those quantum computer? Oh, this is a pharmaceutical company engages in delivery of pharmaceutical, providing therapies and enhancement for the lives of patients with diseases and cancer. Wow. And this is the sector where you have to be the pharma companies, the drug companies, all those kind of things that are, I think, could be substantially performing better once AI is better understood and built for their overall business, and they can really kind of shoot things up and really streamline things like we talked about, making new compounds, making new medicines, and just discovering things that we never would have thunk of. Warner Brothers. I remember reading about this. There was like a merger that's supposed to happen, basically going from $12 to $18 here. I'm sure there's going to be some due diligence on those inflows into options. See if there were some people who knew that stuff. That's always fun to see that. Figma, kind of tailing off here. Again, this is something that I like to see. It sounds terrible. So I want to be wrong. Like this is, it was totally crazily hyped, right? It was so highly hyped. This is something where we just need to wash everything away. It's just a rock slide. It's an avalanche. It's just taking anyone who is weak hands or doesn't understand the stock or is just trying to get out of it because they maybe have been an owner or getting their shares executed to them just to sell in the open market. I hope that it goes higher for those individuals, but this is something that if Figma can hold and make a beautiful kind of cup and handle, this is something that I love to see and maybe test its previous highs here. But this kind of reminds me of the whole Snow. If you remember Snow, the company, Snowflake, that is. Um, huge expectations for the company. Basically, was priced at like 100 or something like that. Went to like 400, and it just kind of crashed for a long period of time. Never really made its full recovery here. Let's look on the daily side. Like, yeah, better little picture gapping down even on earnings. That's not really the most prettiest thing. And it looks like it's still losing money too. Let's losing money. Sales are going up just ever so slightly here, but I think it was just the whole Adobe kind of buying this or wanted to buy this, but the antitrust kind of coming in here and not being able to do so. Let me find where. Oops. Where can I not type here? Oops, went the wrong way. What is? Oops. Whoopsie daisy. Why can I not? Can I not type while I'm doing this? What the hell? Oh, let's try this. Okay, Adobe. What the? Okay, why is this not? There we go. Adobe. Oops. There we go. Remember, look at Adobe. Like this is uh, maybe a double bottom coming in here, but I really don't want to be touching Adobe with a 10-foot pole. It's kind of like my PayPal thing. I don't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole as well. So just be very careful with that. They do look great and everything, but just something about them. Unity Software, another stock that kind of came out sadly in the SPAC time frame, and it really hasn't really recovered from there. There's definitely people talking about it quite a bit here. Um, Broadcom, AVGO, this thing has been taking off as well. This is maybe some folks saying that it's replacing Nvidia. I don't think so, but I think OpenAI made a deal with them on building some of their chips and so forth using just them. This is definitely, I think, extended in my view. We'll see how this one plays out. HIMS is one that I don't quite understand, and I don't. It makes money. It looks like yes, sales are growing, earnings is doing well. Um, Definitely high momentum play, um, and just seeing how that trend plays out for that one for sure, because that can be just a splash in the pan, and then everyone just kind of forgets about it. Anyone else have any comments, questions, concerns? Let's see here. None of these other names are really popping out. We're kind of going further down the list on RSI now, going below 90. Oracle, right? We talked about Oracle last week. That was a substantial move into all-time highs. Kind of giving back a little bit here, coming into the later part of the week, but wow, what a move. Affirm is the one that I've seen people talk about quite a bit as well. This is the buy now, pay later kind of scenario. You see it on Amazon, basically every large site. Costco even has it now, I think. Um, and it's kind of just like, oh yeah, they do a credit check. They see if you're feasible and allowed to do it, and then you can just make payments on it, like layaway in a sense, but you get the product and you pay as you go, and they collect the a little bit of interest or a little bit of difference on that. Because the first stock, I tend to think it was why could I not look in here? Okay, here we go. G Pro. Remember GoPro? Everyone knows GoPro, right? So GoPro is to $2 right now. Okay, GoPro when it first came out was like a lot of stocks, huge, right? Traded a little sideways, went from $40 all the way up to $100. Basically, this was like 20. This is 2014, and it kind of crashed going to like Christmas holiday season kind of time frame, and it just kind of never really recovered because it was a splash in the pan, and it was just like, oh, this is everyone can put a GoPro on their ski helmet. People can put on whatever. Like the iPhone just kind of came out, and the camera was getting better and so forth. So it was kind of like a cool thing to have. The GoPro, you can go in the water, it can go on your motorcycle, whatever like that. It was kind of like it's a splash in the pan kind of scenario. Once everyone's like, oh, it's a GoPro, but now DJI. There are other so many other companies that make fantastic action cameras now too. They did have the first moving advantage and definitely had the fantastic opportunity to have a large part of the market for a short period of time, but yeah, they're definitely sadly losing a lot of money 2025 and making some of it up in earnings for 2026, but they're definitely still losing on earnings since like 2023. So, yeah, God bless them. God bless them. Wayfair. Wayfair is another one that we talked about like back in 2020, 2021 when everyone was at home. I need an office. I need lamps. I need my background to look nice when I do the YouTube. Wayfair was your thing to do that. Now just kind of same kind of scenario, just kind of bouncing around. Are these coming back? People are saying this is the one that Hunt ate. This is the one I've seen people talk about quite a bit. What is this? This is the like the Bitcoin. operates a vertical integrated operator of energy infrastructure and Bitcoin miners in North America. Yeah, this is something I really not the world's biggest fan of that. Let me see. Is it this? There was one I could not think of. MU. Wow. That's beautiful coming out. Wow. Why is no one talking about this? Whoa, look at that. Oh, look at that. Look at that beautiful puppy popping out there. Is that an all-time high there? It sure does look like it. Wow, I remember trading this back here around that time frame. Wow, that looks beautiful on MU. That's a huge amount of volume here. I don't know why no one's talking about this one. That's interesting. I'm gonna put an alert here, at or above, just to keep an eye on it and see. I'm not gonna add it to the lookie chart, but I have an alert, so I'll let it see what happens there. Because the composite's good, RSI is good, the UD is 1.75, group is 1. Yeah, that's we might have a sleeper there, folks. That's a good looking one. Oh, frog! I remember this guy. Yeah, I remember that one. Sad, sad, sad. Alibaba. This one's coming out due to the China stuff. Look at this. This was not Warren Buffett's. Charlie Munger's. Like, people are like, "Oh, look, Charlie bought a Chinese stock. Oh no, what's going on?" He bought that like years ago, right? Very small bet, and people were highlighting it like crazy. Um, Alibaba really coming out strong. That is quite substantial. A lot of blue volume kind of coming in here and seeing this really kick off here. Um, that is a quite substantial move there. I like it. I like it. Let's see what else we got here. LR, kind of the M. Yeah, like a lot of these chips. Look at this, chips. All these things are coming through here. They're really popping off here, going into the week. So like a lot of the physical stuff. Um, People love we talked about Rocket. I love that. Halo, another pharmaceutical pharma company. Careful with those, that can really just cut your fingers off. Sonos, love your products. Stock does not look good at all, in my point of view. Billy, man, that doesn't look great either, right? Look at that. This thing just beat up. It's kind of trying to make a comeback, but nothing to write home about on that. Oscar Health. My gosh, how many people do you see this on their X or their YouTube talking about Oscar Health going to the moon and so forth? Like, you got to be very careful with this. Like, you have to understand people's intentions. Are they trying to sell you something? Are they trying to tell you to buy something because they own it at a different rate and they want to sell it to you at a higher rate and then get out, aka a rug pull? This is definitely someone. This is interesting. Excuse me. Oh, there's one I heard a lot about. Uh, this is the energy, or not energy, the language arts, or language speaking and of learning of Duolingo. I see a lot of people posting about this and how great this is, and seeing how this potentially kind of change the market and do well here. Speaking of the stock, it's not performing too well here. RSI is very low here. UD is just over 1. It's not in the highest level of group or sector strength. Earnings, pretty good actually. 36 and 26%. That's not terrible, right? That's quite good of earnings for this kind of company. But we'll see if this one can kind of hold here. Actually, going to be maybe doing a little more deeper dive on this one, because I see so many people on X talking about this, that this is going to be a 10x stock here. But those people on X or whoever else, they never share their full-on understanding and their philosophy behind it. So, does Duolingo have the potential? Duolingo, I'm sure, has a lot of understanding of like people signing up. It's got kind of a meme behind it of that little bird kind of telling you to do your you do your Duolingo for the day, or it's gonna come and haunt you. They have it kind of gamified it, and I think maybe if more people are gonna travel, this is definitely something that could be perked up. But does some of these AI models kind of replace this as well? Like, can I just have ChatGPT or have Google Gemini help me create worksheets and apps like that to kind of help me learn? I think we're a little bit too far away from that. I think they still have that, but if they're transitioning to that, I think maybe people are kind of putting a discount on that. Maybe that's a little too harsh right now, but just my sharing my opinion. Boom. Wow. This is a lot of stocks that we kind of covered today. David Ryan's stocks are always fun to follow here. Ford. Oh, Forward. Okay. I thought this was like Ford, the motor company. I'm like, what the hell? Um, IRT, Research, Credo, VST. There's buy. That's interesting. Jamf. 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 Jamf, the MDM's product? Wow. I didn't know they were publicly traded. Yikes. That does not look good. They're actually losing money still. Yikes. I want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Let's kind of go back and cover some things that we just kind of discussed. Really, I think a lot of people want to know about the Tesla. Tesla, like I said, coming into Friday, and Thursday into Friday, it was moving heavy volume, coming in strong, kind of breaking out of this box of purgatory. Could potentially see this maybe go a little bit higher here and maybe kind of level off, but who knows? It could just be a potential move out and not really have any follow through. We can see maybe someone knows something, right? Maybe there's an optimist stuff coming out. Maybe there's potential new price targets coming out because they did some more research of like, oh, Optimus is going to be a huge component to Tesla's revenue in the future here. Um, but if you're looking at currently things right now, this year is definitely they're going to be losing things. We talked about the tax credit going away. We talked about in the end of September, just in the United States, that is pretty substantial for car sales there. Um, and I don't think Optimus is going to be rolling out anytime this year. They might be teasing more things on that that could maybe help the stock here and there a little bit. And I think Elon has a new package that could be quite substantial for him if he hits those mile markers again. Again, like can he? How much did he make last time? Like over $100 billion or something like that. And then a person who owns 10 shares of it kind of was able to cancel it and hold up on it and just annoy the Hello Kitty out of the shareholders. And even though we wanted to give it to him, he didn't. And, yeah, that kind of fun times, right? There's never a boring time in the market at all. So, guys, ladies, thank you so much for watching. I greatly appreciate everyone coming out. If you haven't already, hit the like. If you have any questions, please put it in the comment box now. If not, I'm going to sign off here. If then we'll probably see you on Wednesday evening to discuss the stuff after the Fed's announcements, which is around 2 o'clock Eastern time, and then like 2:30 is when actually Jerome Powell usually talks. So be cognizant of that day. That's really everyone's kind of focusing on that this coming week is to look at what is going on with the Fed and are we going to get cuts or what's going to happen there. But again, thank everyone for coming out. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. I'll catch you guys on the flip side, and I'll see you guys on Wednesday. Peace.